Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Soviet MiG-15bis sitting at 8.7 battle rating. So you knew I still had one Soviet jet footage thingy laying around, and this is it. It's the MiG-15bis. I had a lot of fun in this plane. I had a couple of interesting matches, so I thought I'd make a video about this. You always have to put it together though, and finally decided to do it. It's an interesting plane. It has a better engine compared to the MiG-15. You have about 360 thrust extra compared to the MiG-15, so that's quite a bit of extra power. It has an 8.7 battle rating compared to the 8.3 of the MiG-15, and for the rest it's pretty much the same plane. So there is that. This plane does not have an afterburner. It does have an air brake, no radar, and it has the same gun setup as the MiG-15, even the same paint job as the default. But yeah, it's a fun plane, and with the extra power it's an extremely powerful little plane. Now, before we go into the detail, if you do enjoy my videos on a regular basis, do make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. It's always nice and interesting to communicate with you guys, and I try to answer everything, so you'll definitely get an answer. And if you have not joined me yet on Rumble and Locals, please do. On Rumble we'll have a backup channel for if YouTube does its thing, and we have the Locals for a support platform and a place where we can share some more personal stuff. So if you want to join me there, follow the links in the description. Okay, so the MiG-15bis maximum speed at sea level is 1070 kilometers an hour. At 4500 meters she can take you to 831, and finally at 6500 meters the plane can go up to 729 kilometers an hour in indicated airspeed. No afterburner, as I said, so those are the speeds. It's decently fast. The top speed in a dive is 1076, which is the same as the MiG-15, and she will rip at around 1160 plus. I did not manage to rip it in a dive. I crashed into the ground at 1160, a little bit higher compared to the MiG-15 because of the extra power of the engine. You get a little bit more acceleration in the end, and a couple of tens of kilometers an hour faster, which is not enough to rip her, unfortunately. It's still a very difficult proposition, so that's a good thing. You don't just rip in this plane. The control stiffening is very similar to the MiG-15, with 700 kilometers an hour for the first aileron compression, and 900 kilometers an hour makes it basically a brick, and it's very difficult to do anything with the plane after that point in a dive. Handling in the dive is not great. As you know, the roll rate in these planes is just atrocious. It's really bad, and to have that to start off with a little bit of compression, this plane really becomes a brick fairly quickly. So yeah, man, in the ends of the dive you really have to be careful, also due to the elevator compression that does kick in above 1000 kilometers an hour especially. So you do have to be careful in the long ends of a dive, because she becomes uncontrollable in the roll rate, and she gets more compression, so it really becomes a little bit of a dangerous plane at that point. So you just gotta play with that in mind. The stall speed in this plane is 125, which is good. Firepower is good, although you have to take into account that it is good for shotgun range, 500 meters and less basically. It's not good at further distances. The shells have too big of a drop off there, and it's a combined setup with a 37 and 23 millimeter guns, and you don't have a lot of ammo either, so you have to be precise and you have to be close to make those rounds that you do have count. The ammo load is below average, that's for sure. You have one 37 millimeter N37D cannon with 40 rounds, and you have two 23 millimeter NS23 cannons with 80 rounds per gun. Now that's not a lot of ammo, as you know, and we had the same problem with the MiG-15 with the drop-off and the shotgun range thing in this plane. It requires a different playstyle than what you might be used to. And you really have to get in close and personal. That's why I also call this plane a brawler. They like to be close and in your face, and that's nice. This version does have some bombs and rockets that you can equip. You do weigh it down with that, of course, so you cannot play that normally. You can go ground pounding in it. It does have a place then maybe in ground RB, but you get a maximum of 16 rockets and only 2 bombs, I believe, of varying weights. The acceleration in this plane is very good, both in a straight line and in a dive. Energy retention is great, both in the horizontal and in the vertical. This plane is just a little bit on the plus in the vertical compared to the 15bis. That little bit of extra power really helps. And what is a little bit, I mean, it's about 20% extra, right? I believe, yeah, maybe 20%, 15-20% extra power is nothing to complain about, that's for sure. Climb rate again is excellent. This plane is great in the vertical, great for climbing, and on the higher altitudes she performs like a princess. Really nice to play this plane when it comes to that. The turn time is very good and great with flaps. The flaps rip off around 680, which is not the greatest, and as you see I'm still screwing around with my aim. I should have gotten this Jaguar on this pass basically. Man, that gun setup, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I guess once you do get used to it and you have it locked down on automating, you can dream it basically, as I say, then you will have a great time in this plane. It will be fantastic to use these guns then and fly around with it, and it will be less frustration, I guess, for the passerby, right? Because I'm just passing by for this plane. I'm making a review and I don't really get to master this setup with the amount of time I play in it. So, and that breeds some frustration because you're doing most of the things right. You set up your attack runs, you lock players down in a certain maneuver and you stall them out, you get a shot and you miss the shot. That is very frustrating, but that is due to the fact that you're a beginner in a particular plane with a particular gun setup. Once you start to put in the time in a plane and you get more matches under your belt and you get a feeling for the guns, you lose that bit of frustration you might have with the guns. I'm very much aware of this. It is something that I see a lot because I am, of course, making videos. I'm a content creator and I don't spend a lot of time in planes. I review them, I get my data sheets, and I give my best evaluation of a plane, which is usually quite correct. Of course I make mistakes, but once you master a plane, that is something different. It takes more time in a plane, especially for aiming the guns. Yeah, so, but anyway, let's continue. The roll rate is atrocious in this plane. With a very good to great turn time and atrocious roll rate, the maneuverability overall is average. Overheating in this plane is also below average. It is definitely overheating, especially with 100% on all the time. Sometimes you just have to lower it to manage it, and it does cool off pretty rapidly, so you don't have to worry too much about that. It's definitely manageable. This plane is definitely durable and has a good bit of survivability in it. It can take quite a bit of damage and get you home, but it's also a small profile. It does have some armor in there, but the small profile helps you from getting hits. You know, it's difficult to get a hit on this plane because it's so damn small. Repair cost in the plane is 15,624 Silver Lions, which is good. It is just below average really when it comes to repair costs, and that is actually nice. The rewards in this plane, it has a 424% multiplier on the research point and a 510% Silver Lion multiplier. Now for the research point, that's not great. It's it's bad compared to other planes at this battle rating. Not great, 424. But the 510% on the Silver Lion modifier is very good actually. So she's not too great for unlocking the tree, but this plane is great for making Silver Lions basically. And with the repair cost that is also good, this plane can definitely make you some money. And that is nice to have, but you don't want to use it to unlock the plane. So there is to unlock the plane, to unlock the tree basically. So yeah, That's always good to know, right? So yeah, this plane, man, it's a boom and zoomer energy fighter that can do a flat turn and a sustained flat turn if it needs to. But you don't want to get yourself into a rolling scissors or something. The roll rate on this plane is really bad. It's in the worst of the bunch category basically, and you want to keep it to flat turning in this plane if you have to fight somebody in close quarters. Or you take it into the vertical basically, but if you do that, you have to be careful that you don't do that with a missile carrying plane, because this plane fights at 8.7, you get up tier to 9.7. There's a lot of planes with missiles, of course you don't have them, and in the vertical you get slow and you become an easy target for a missile, so be aware of that. It's something you have to work with in this plane, and a plane in the missile age without missiles. It's just the way it is. We've reviewed several of these planes, and this is definitely something you have to watch. But yeah, this plane definitely has qualities in the vertical, so that's an extra thing you have to watch with this plane. It's not like it used to be in the old days when this was one of the top dogs in the vertical and one of the last planes in the line. That is where it all used to be, right? You didn't have to worry about missiles back then. You do have to worry about it now though. Anyway, we're going into a fun sequence here at the end. I put out the flaps and I forgot that I had ripped one of the flaps off, so I crashed myself into the ground after getting 3 kills with 2 more people left. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now that was an unfortunate ending to an otherwise good match, although I'm still struggling with the aim. I'm pretty sure if you remove that problem, I say that if you master this gun setup and you become an automaton with it, like everything goes smooth and you don't have to look for the aim, frustration falls away in this plane and you can set up so many good situations. It's such a strong little plane that can deal with a lot of what is thrown at it, even in the battle rating that it sits in the missile age these days, up tiers to 9.7, very strong planes there. MiG-15bis can still have its place, especially by somebody who has mastered it. And I mean, I can do a lot with a lot of planes because I have so much experience and setting up the runs and getting used to a certain play style. Yeah, sure, but then getting the guns on target, right? Getting the right lead. That is the thing that I miss the mastery at this plane. But if you do have the time to spend in this plane to get there, this can be a masterful little plane for you, man. If you get the frustration away from missing some of the shots that you set up, and you actually get all those shots on a regular basis, consistently, wow, this plane is going to be a fantastic little plane to fly around in. And with the Silver Lion booster, man, this is going to be really a Silver Lion earner. Could be quite a nice plane to fly. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.